until things suddenly diverge, and that's where it's getting... It's just saying words. Just words. Simple, easy words. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another edition of a comically long review, Shattered Grid. Last time, we saw Lord Draken make his move across the Ranger dimensions, looking to gather morphers and add to his power base. How will Zordon and the Rangers respond to this? Let's find out by taking a look at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 27, Go-Go Power Rangers issue 9, and the 2018 Free Comic Book Day issue. We kick things off with the 2018 Free Comic Book Day issue. For those unfamiliar, Free Comic Book Day is a promotion that started in 2002 with the rise in comic book interest caused by comic book movies. Publishers will put out a free issue of various comics for local comic stores to give out, with the idea that people love free stuff, so they come out to places like Cool Comics in Valdosta, Georgia, to pick up some free books. They read, they love a few, and they come back to fantastic comic stores like Cool Comics in Valdosta, Georgia, y'all, to buy some comic books. Oddly enough, Power Rangers was not a part of the first two Free Comic Book Days during its run, but that streak ended in 2018 with a great Shattered Grid tie-in. Now, if you don't have a convenient comic book store nearby, worry not. You can sign up for Comixology for free and read the issue online, completely free and legal. The cover, which is funny to say because I read this online, is basically a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers poster. Zordon, Alpha, the Megazord, and the Rangers. Tommy is in a rather unfortunate pose, considering both what happened to him in the story and his character's overall reputation. Jesus Christ, Superstar. Showing that this takes place at about the same time as the annual and issue 26, we start at Samurai Shiba House. The Samurai Rangers have been defeated and captured. Well, 5 of them. Yes, just 5. We know Lauren is with the Mighty Morphin Rangers, but Jaden is nowhere to be seen. Remember, this takes place after Samurai, so it's not that time that Jaden left. Zordon observes this, a red sentry giving Draken the Samurizers. Zordon says that they've dealt with a lot over the ages, but with Draken's army growing and really turning time into Swiss cheese, it's time for drastic measures. Zordon says he must request an audience. Alpha surmises that he means with the emissaries, and worries about what that means for him, but he says that he accepts the consequences because all of the Ranger worlds are at stake. Zordon moves into space? A similar area, I guess, to the one he was thrown into when the command center was destroyed. A voice says if he understands and accepts the cost, they will give him an audience. The emissaries are basically secretaries to the Morphin Masters, the ones that created the Morphin Grid. They are constantly shifting reflections of the Ranger colors red, blue, and yellow. There's no telling if there are emissaries for other colors. Zordon explains about the threat of Lord Draken and says that he's come to ask the emissaries to speak to the Masters, asking them to intervene. The emissaries are shocked at the question and explain the Masters are above the affairs of man. Zordon is a sage. It's his responsibility to choose Rangers to fight his battles. If you are here today seeking out help, then perhaps those who have chosen are not worthy. Zordon starts giving a speech. He's spent centuries maintaining the balance and has mentored Rangers that have shaped history, saved worlds, and even paid the ultimate sacrifice. Some of this clearly refers to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but some of it also doesn't. His Rangers now have come so far. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. They started out green, well, I mean, only one of them was green. They started out inexperienced, but they have never failed a mission, fight with honor and courage and compassion. However, if they question the worthiness of the Rangers, he can show them how far the Rangers have come. Let's see how far we've come. Oh, yeah. Let's see how far we've come. Is it a clip show? Well, yes and no. If you remember, MMPR issue 0 started the day Tommy first went to school as a member of the Power Rangers on the side of good. Now it's time for the comics version of Day of the Dumpster. Jason is training Billy in karate, though this is one-on-one as opposed to the class we saw on the TV show. Trainee is doing some martial arts and Kim is on the balance beam, though they discuss Matt and his friend Hoover. Zach is just standing nearby talking about school and dropping an ironic line about never becoming a superhero. Sometime later, because transitions suck, Billy and Jason have changed clothes and everyone is getting smoothies. The famous earthquake, but not really, strikes, dousing Bulk and Skull with smoothies. Weird thing here, as Zach comments it's cool they're having an earthquake, and Jason asks, in Angel Grove?
You're stupid.
Okay, so let's talk about this. I've mentioned before that I always thought that Angel Grove was a fictional stand-in for the city of Los Angeles. Looking online, I saw some people theorize that it might have been San Francisco instead. Even though those two cities are a good 5 hours apart, it's pretty safe to say that Angel Grove is located somewhere in the greater Southern California area. Southern California, located on or near the San Andreas Fault, experiences thousands of earthquakes. Yes, most of them are too small to be felt, but in my research it said that at least a couple of hundred a year are at 3.0 or above. Let's go ahead and round that down to 100. That would mean that a feelable earthquake is on average a 1 day out of 3 occurrence. Bottom line, it is absolutely unrealistic for a Southern Californian to be surprised about an earthquake. Jason immediately shows his leadership, telling the Rangers to get out of the juice bar, but then they feel the initial tingles of teleportation. Jason tells them to hold on, which, besides being the opposite of what he just said, would explain why they didn't move before teleporting. After the Rangers teleport into the command center, they recite the script from Day of the Dumpster for a bit, before Zordon explains that he's brought them there to save the world. With that, 5 ordinary teens became the Power Rangers. He describes the villains, Rita and her cronies, how she sent monsters against the Rangers and cast spells on them, but they learned to drive the Megazord and always leapt into battle without hesitating. Why wouldn't the emissaries already know this? The Rangers' first Megazord battle with Goldar, he flies away instead of teleporting, is described by Zordon as showing they are worthy and more than just soldiers. We transition to their human lives a little, as Zordon describes them as just as dedicated to each other as they are to making the world a better place. Trini and Billy do what the Rangers would normally be doing, environmental activism, in this case combating climate change by trying to raise support for a rain garden. It's not getting a lot of attention. Tommy walks up, a brand new student, and I really hope he's making a joke, otherwise he's not incredibly bright, saying that his schedule says he needs to go to Applebee's. Like the restaurant?
That's eating good in the neighborhood.
Trini jokes about it being in the cafeteria, but Billy plays it straight, and Trini says they will give him directions in exchange for a signature. He does, they does. Trini calls his name after him, and he smiles back. Which transitions to an evil smile, as Tommy is then enchanted by Rita and made her evil Green Ranger. Zordon describes how Tommy fought the Rangers fiercely, but they overcame the spell, defeated him, and he joined the team to fight for good, and did so until the very end. Zordon tells the emissaries that while Tommy was their trusted ally until his death in their world, that wasn't how it went down in other dimensions.
By the way, this is important, so write it down, because I'm gonna do like a thing where I blow your f***ing mind.
Rita and Draken stand atop the command center, having conquered the Rangers and won. Rita says she's very happy, as you'd imagine. Draken doesn't seem as happy, and Rita asks what's wrong. Draken explains that Zordon chose children, teenagers as his soldiers because of their hope and optimism, but also their naivete and controllability. Eventually, all children learn that their parents are human, flawed and imperfect, and to grow, they have to move on from them. Eventually, every child must grow up. Draken killed Rita. It's safe to say she didn't see it coming, but Draken points out the poetic justice. He killed Rita with the dragon dagger that she gave him. It's not a disrespectful act in his mind. He tells her to rest now. Her era has come to an end. This was just his next step. He takes Rita's staff and declares that he will finish what they started together. Zordon details the advancement of Draken's campaign, building an army, killing Tommy, though in a far less remarkable and dramatic frame than we got originally. Now, Tommy just looks like he's going, "Oi, what with the stabbing in the back and the tiger sword, hey lady!" And now, reality looks like a delicious plate of spaghetti. Zordon says this is a threat unlike ever before, and while he realizes you can't just shut the grid off, there's got to be some way for the Masters to cut Draken off from his powers. However, the emissaries reject him. They say his thinking is too linear, and even the horrendous accomplishments of Draken are mere blips in the eyes of history. They are convinced about his Rangers, but that just leads them to implore him to believe in them, just like the Masters believe in him. He begs them to reconsider, but they say the audience is over, while Blue and Yellow interestingly take on female Ranger forms in male bodies. Oh, hey, remember those consequences Alpha and the emissaries mentioned? Zordon tapped into reserve powers to make this journey, and without them, he apparently will not be able to enter the morphing grid after his death. Zordon honestly does not care about heaven when life on Earth is hell, just telling them that they're making a mistake. They aren't swayed, wishing him good fortune in the war to come, and kicking him out the door. We stay with them as they further discuss the situation. Zordon never acts impulsively, so maybe there's a reason he's so worried. Red and Yellow dismiss Blue's concerns, just saying that Zordon has gotten too used to thinking like humans, in terms of linear time. Blue wonders if this Draken keeps amassing powers, couldn't the grid be at risk, including them? What you are fearful of is impossible. No mortal has ever affected the grid in that way. The bottom line is that they don't think this is their fight. The Masters just pressed go on the universe and established powers for those who would do good to use. The struggle between good and evil is cyclical and never-ending. As Red says this, we see that maybe Draken is a bigger concern. He seems to have conquered another of his former selves, as we see a Samuraizer floating among the Dino Thunder Morphers, as he absorbs their powers. This issue did precisely what you would expect a Free Comic Book Day issue to do, introduce new readers to the story of these Rangers. I did think it was very clever for them to start from Day of the Dumpster, which they hadn't already covered, but so many people are familiar with, and then carry along that story before it suddenly diverges, and that's where things get interesting. For anyone who's read all of the previous issues, this is kind of the comic book equivalent of a clip show, but things like the reveal that Draken killed Rita do keep it interesting. 2018's Free Comic Book Day gets a 4 out of 5. Over to the main series with MMPR issue 27. It only has 3 covers. Sort of. So I haven't really addressed this, but Boom will often tease covers online a good month before their issues actually come out. That led to something interesting here. The main cover is Jason and Lauren fighting outside Corinth, seemingly to rescue Dr. K. However, this cover seems to have been teased before Tommy's death, as this version was the one teased, and this one, with Jason wearing the dragon shield, is what we actually got. The retro episode cover references the MMPR episode Rangers in Reverse, where they became kids. Billy leads the Forever cover this time with Forever Blue. At least 3 visible versions of MMPR Blue, both the Blue and Aqua Dino Charge Rangers, and, most interestingly, the Blue Centaurian and Ninjor. In Draken's world, sentries are talking about a prisoner they've been interrogating but can't break. The yellow sentry says it's the leader of the Coinless, so yeah, they've captured Zack. A red sentry walks up saying he can handle this and telling them to get lost. He walks in and Zack trash talks him, asking how this is going to go. The red sentry says he's going to talk, Zack's going to shut up, and then he'll realize this was all worth old Skull risking his cover. He was fearless, says Lauren. How do I know that? Helpfully, since we now have more than one ranger of the same color, the captions have team logos on them. Anyway, Lauren describes the attack of Draken's forces, how they were fearless and single-minded and just marched through them. She asks where her friends are. The Rangers don't know, but they were probably captured, their morphers absorbed by Draken and the sentries. Interestingly, Zordon can project himself into this lounge. Zack says Jen has a map of what's going on, but what Jen has is a situation. Jen reports that Draken's forces are attacking. The Rangers ask where, and she says everywhere at once. They realize they can't go everywhere at once, so they have to warn the dimensions to be ready. They finish syncing the Black Dragon suit with Jen's transportal technology. Okay, I need to stop and say something right here. What you're about to hear is a speech called Zordon's Warning. It's Zordon's warning to all the Ranger dimensions. As I mentioned, there was a live Shattered Grid reading at Power Morphicon, and David Fielding delivered this speech as Zordon, and Ron Wasserman brought along audio modulators that turned David's voice into Zordon's. I'm going to say right now that there is no way on any earth that my reading of this will come anywhere close to Mr. Fielding's delivery. I got chills. I'm not kidding. Ask Ranger Liz. I was sitting right next to her. I believe I was vlogging it, and I could include a clip of that right here, but with respect to Power Morphicon and Mr. Fielding, I just don't feel it's appropriate for me to include a clip from that in this official review. I will include a snippet of it in the eventual vlog, so look forward to that.
To all those who will hear these words, my name is Zordon of Eltar. I come to you from across the grid with a warning. A great threat is upon us. His name is Lord Draken, and his armies are growing. They have found a way to target Rangers with their Black Dragon cannons designed to disrupt your connection to the morphing grid. As Lord Draken looks to conquer us all, he is trying to steal morphers to add to his army of sentries. In this time of great uncertainty, we must stand together and, if possible, come to each other's aid. Defend your worlds, protect yourselves and your morphers at all costs, and may the power protect you all.
Doubling back to this awesome two-page spread, we see Draken's forces attacking multiple places. This is clearly happening during the 2018 annual, as we see In Space, SPD, and Ninja Steel. Though for Ninja Steel, Draken is attacking their base from above. 1, their base was not underground, and 2, Draken never made it to their base in the annual.
Space is warped and time is bendable.
The Rangers wonder if they'd even have a way of knowing if other Rangers heard them, but that question is almost immediately answered as they get a response. From Dr. K. She reports that Draken's forces have been besieging Corinth for 8 hours, but the RPM Rangers have been holding the line. Jen asks about the Dragon Cannons, but Kay managed to solve those pesky little things, reverse engineering one and protecting their connection to the biofield. Yes, those two are one and the same. Jen asks if she could duplicate that, and she thinks so, but each team connects to it differently, so it's a case-by-case basis. Then they lose the signal. They work to get Dr. K back, but then they get another signal. It's from Zack, Coinless Zack. He says their base is gone, but they think they have a way to beat Draken. He asks to meet them at attached coordinates. Zack tells Jason they have to get there, and he agrees, but Trini says they also need to rescue Dr. K. Alpha says they can teleport to the dimensions, but Draken has a teleportation shield 10 miles around Corinth, so they're going to have to park and walk up. Kim points out a third problem. Draken is attacking everywhere at once. There are other Rangers that need their help. Jason lays out a battle plan. Zach, Billy, and Trini will meet coinless Zach. Jen, who can locate Rangers like she did with Lauren, will take Kim and go rescue whatever Rangers they can, bringing them back to the command center. Jason and Lauren will head out to Corinth to rescue Dr. K. Everybody teleports out. In Draken's palace, we see the evil leader slouched in his throne, looking over the red Zeonizer crystal. Finster 5 approaches, thinking Draken is relishing another victory, and offers to take the crystal off his hands. Obviously, this element of powers from another Tommy resonates with him, but he lets it go, giving to Finster 5 to add to the pile. Finster 5 notes the next power transfer is ready, but this is going to be a lot of power, so it's going to hurt. Draken says that's fine, but Finster 5 knows his master, and notes that Draken spent a lot more time than usual with the Zeo Rangers, asking if everything is okay. Draken claims he was just learning about them. He again echoes how those Rangers adored their Tommy as well, for reasons he can't understand. Finster 5 says maybe it was love, and when Draken says that makes no sense, Finster 5 says it often doesn't. A sentry comes in and reports how the cannons are no longer working on the RPM Rangers. Draken says it doesn't matter, his other overtures have been accepted, and he'll lead them to Corinth himself, right after his new power transfer. Jason and Lauren teleport outside Corinth to the big, sandy desert of nothingness. Thankfully, Jason is able to summon the T-Rex Zord. I would think that you'd have Lauren summon her Lion Folding Zord. It is smaller, but it's gotta be faster, right? Inside, Jason makes small talk, asking if Lauren's been a Ranger for a while. She says she prepared for it her whole life, but it's a long story. Jason says they've got 10 miles, which makes me wonder just how fast the T-Rex Zord is going. A 10-mile trip at even 60 miles an hour is only 10 minutes. And I'd imagine that the T-Rex Zord would be a lot faster than that. Lauren tells the backstory of Samurai, how her father was the Red Ranger and tried to seal their enemy, Master Xandrid, but died midway through the sealing symbol. She said the D word. Destroyed, Lauren. Destroyed, not died. Anyway, she grew up training to complete the job. Failed, but the Rangers did defeat Xandrid. The Nylok were gone. For a while. Recently, they returned. And Mentor G and Jaden went undercover to investigate. Undercover as what? Nylok? Anyway, that's why they weren't there when Draken attacked, and now Lauren isn't sure what they'll return to. Jason grits his teeth, saying Draken certainly shakes things up. Lauren gets the meaning that Draken killed Tommy. Lauren gives her condolences and asks Jason if he blames himself. He says he does, but assures her that if the Samurai Rangers are alive, they're going to save them. She thanks him, but says now's not the time to worry about that. They have a mission. He says he usually says that, and then it doesn't really hold true. But she stays convinced, saying that she's not going to worry. It's not the time for it. Jason raises an eyebrow, and Lauren says she literally fights demons for a living. Zach, Billy, and Trini teleport to the coinless world, wondering if they're in the right place. Billy says the coordinates are right and finds a sign to prove that they are where they should be. The juice bar. Or what's left of it. The coinless, or what's left of them, show up. Coinless Trini and regular Billy reunite, and Zach asks where everyone else is. Coinless Zach says this is all they have left. After Billy and Tommy left, Scorpina led a resurgence that wiped the coinless out just about. By the by, this activity is begun in the Power Rangers Hyperforce Shattered Grid episodes. Zach says they'd be done for if not for Skull, who explains how he's been with Draken's forces for years, playing politics, climbing the ladder, and eventually becoming a Red Ranger sentry with access to everything. He tells them Draken has Ninjor. Trini has no idea who that is, which is funny because not only have none of them actually met Ninjor yet, but as far as we know, Trini actually never met Ninjor. Anyway, Coinless Trini explains how Ninjor created the power coins, but now Draken is forcing him to help them. If they can get Ninjor free, they can beat Draken. Back to Corinth, where the RPM Rangers are fighting some sentries, the last forces of this push. They hear Thum, which before was Draken's portal, but in this case is the T-Rex Zord. The sentries fire on it, and it responds about how you'd expect. T-Rex used Tail Whip. It was very effective. The sentries retreat. Jason and Lauren dismount, putting off introductions and asking for Dr. K. She's actually right there, needing to take readings from the battlefield itself. They explain that they need to take her to the command center, but Dylan points out that could be an issue. There's a huge army of vehicles approaching, and riding on one of the tanks is Lord Draken, Evil Purple Korag, the Blue and Pink Psycho Rangers, and the Yellow, Pink, and Green A-Squad Rangers. Draken has made himself an evil team of Rangers. Issue 27 is MMPR's Shattered Grid settling in issue. We start to get a true sense of the scope of this thing. We're crossing literal Ranger dimensions this time, not just Ranger timeline era dimensions, whatever. Rescuing Dr. K, one of the brains of the operation, as well as learning more about what's going on with the Coinless. It is more exposition than action, but again, this is the good exposition. MMPR issue 27 gets a 4 out of 5. And over to the third aspect for today's trio, Go-Go Power Rangers number 9. 4 covers for issue 9. 2 of them have an odd similarity though, as there's a retro homage to Day of the Dumpster, but the movie poster homage is to Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, with the dumpster standing in for the phone booth. There's a cover that's just Jason standing in front of White. But the main cover portends a mystery, as the Rangers face an explosion with a caped figure standing in the middle of it. Huh, Kimberly's standing in front. That's interesting. Bulk is leading a girl running through a barren sort of buildingscape, appearing to meet with Mrs. Appleby and Principal Kaplan. They think they shook their pursuers, but a voice confirms that they didn't. Black sentries confirm this is Draken's universe, ordering them to surrender. Appleby and the girl are defiant, but Bulk is squeamish and Kaplan silent. The sentries move to shoot them when they get hit by arrows fired by Kimberly, sporting a sweet short punk cut. She was tailing the unit and says she can get these folks out of the city. Bulk plays tough, but the girl, maybe this is the girl Bulk took to homecoming, I have no idea who this is, makes him thank her. 27 days after arrival day, Kim comes downstairs and sees her dad with a suitcase, asking if he's going on another business trip. Not exactly. He's moving out. Kim is shocked since her parents actually haven't been fighting as much lately. But have you heard that sometimes silence can actually be worse? They had decided to stop talking, but it didn't help. We see this as her mom enters the scene, and immediately the two start fighting. Meanwhile, Trini goes looking for Billy in the Zord Bay, and he calls her up to the controls of the Triceratops Zord. Basically, Billy has decided to stay on with the Rangers, so he figures if he studies while morphed in his Triceratops Zord, maybe like Zordon said, he'll get better with the Zord and smarter brain rewiring, etc., etc. Trini thinks that Zordon was talking more about battle instincts than, book smarts. In the Moon Palace, Rita has summoned Goldar. She's detected a familiar energy on Earth, a darkness, and sends him to go get it, implying he should destroy it if he can't retrieve it. Goldar says he won't fail, but Rita says he will. Actually, she's counting on that. Back at school, we see the Rangers all texting Matt, trying to check on him and hang out with him. They don't seem to be getting any responses. Zordon calls the Rangers and has detected the same energy signature Rita did, sending them to investigate. P.S. In Go-Go, Trini has these yellow rogue-like bang things, and I absolutely love them. The Rangers morph, and I love this 5-way split from their noses. This is just a beautiful image. They teleport to a train station, but just find Goldar and the putties. The Rangers quip their way through the fight, and two putties get slammed together by an arrow. Billy tells Kimberly that that was a nice shot, but Kim says it wasn't her. Instead, it was the Ranger Slayer, who you may remember me mentioning in an earlier video, a darker version of the Pink Ranger suit, her bow made out of 2 swords of darkness. The Rangers and Goldar wonder what the heck is going on, realizing that she must be the energy signature. Goldar, of course, attacks right away. She knocks up a set of arrows and easily takes out the putties. Goldar starts speechifying, so she kicks him in the face. He retreats. The Rangers approach, cautious but excited about this new Ranger. But yeah, caution was the right approach as she then attacks them. She pushes them around, commenting on how they're smaller, slower, and more disorganized than she remembers. Kim attacks, and Ranger Slayer kicks her like 50 feet away on the other side of a train car. She comments that it's impossible that this team defeated her lord. She removes her helmet and goes to Kimberly and says out of respect to all they have been through, she'll offer her a deal. Return her master and she will spare her. Or rather, herself. Kim is shocked that someone let her go outside with that haircut. Sorry, Kim, I actually like it better. Anyway, yes, this is coinless Kimberly. She laughs, recognizing her own tendency to joke in the face of certain death. And the better the joke, the better the distraction, actually, as Kim blasts her older self. The other Rangers catch up, and coinless Kim says fine, she'll defeat them all and get Draken back herself. They have no idea who Lord Draken is. Hint number 1. Then she realizes there's only 5 of them. Hint number 2. Kim has come to the wrong year. She takes off with the Rangers giving chase. She fires an arrow into a fuel tanker, which makes it explode, providing cover for her getaway. The Rangers brief Zordon on the situation, and Trini asks if this is Rita's new plan, making fake putty copies of them. Kim asks if there's any way that that was a future version of her, and Zordon says they have detected fluctuations in the time stream. It's possible. Zordon tells the Rangers to be careful since they don't know what they're dealing with. Trini meets Kim outside the command center, telling her today was crazy, but they're gonna get through this. Crazier than Trini realizes as Kim tells her that her dad moved out. Kim then tells a story about how when she was 7, she entered a gymnastics competition her coaches and parents didn't think she was ready for. She won 3rd place, and it was the best moment of her life. And then her parents fought over which freeway to take home. She promised herself that day that she would never turn out like them. Trini says she won't, but that's the thing. She just met her future self, and she doesn't seem all that nice. At the Evil Moon Palace dinner hour time, Goldar reports on the new Ranger, but Rita already knew about her. They ask what they should do, and she says, nothing. Great idea, they all agree. At Jason's house, he goes to make a sandwich when the phone rings. He picks up, and the caller assumes that he's his father, telling him he needs to come in for another round of medical tests. Jason freaks for a second, making them wonder if it is him, but he pretends to be to get the information. He goes to confront his dad in the garage. He plays it off, but when Jason presses, his dad points out how he doesn't stick his nose in his business, and he expects the same. He orders Jason not to tell his mother and drops a dark and untrue lesson. When you love someone, you don't burden them with your problems. Somewhere outside Angel Grove, coinless Kim tries to contact Finster 5, I'm guessing, saying she's in the wrong time, but the crystal is too weak to send the signal. Rita finds her, and she assumes the witch has come to finish her off, but Rita instead offers her help in destroying the Rangers. See, coinless Kim has brought along a rather intimidating friend, but that friend needs some power. That friend appears to be a Megazord, which Rita offers to jumpstart. This is an interesting one to be sure. Kimberly is clearly the focus, as we see the real breakdown of her family life and the impact that had on her, and then get the arrival of the Ranger Slayer. I think it was absolutely genius to involve Ranger Slayer and the Draken coinless world, etc. stuff in this side of the story by having her try to rescue Draken from Promethea, but come back too far and end up here. All in all, this is just a great setup issue for what's coming. Issue number 9 of Go-Go Power Rangers gets a 4.5 out of 5. Next time on a comically long review, Shattered Grid, we'll see if the Ranger Slayer allies with Rita, and how Draken's evil Ranger team is dealt with when we take a look at Go-Go Power Rangers issues 10 and 11, wrapped around Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 28. That's going to do it for another edition of a comically long review, Shattered Grid. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for watching. In the comments below, let me know what you thought of these issues. Was Ranger Slayer a surprise for you, or did you remember her from the previous issues? And what did you think about her big debut fight here? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, go ahead and smack that thumbs up button. Let me know that you liked this video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel to see all of my videos, and ring the bell. Get your notifications set up so you are notified whenever I post brand new videos like these, comically long review of Shattered Grid. And if you really enjoy the work I'm doing and want to toss me any financial support, there are 2 ways you can do so. Head over to ko-fi.com/OrangeRangerVideos. You can buy me a coffee set at $3. Or to donate less or a different amount, go over to digitaltipjar.com/OrangeRangerVid. Toss whatever little tip change you'd like in that jar. I'd be grateful for anything that lands inside. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. Zordon is a sage. It's his responsibility to choose Rangers to fight. It's sort of a clip show. If you remember, MMPR started the day, and by that I mean the comic. It's sort of a clip show. It's sort of a clip show. I don't know how to make this sound right. MMPR issue number 0 started the day Tommy first went to school as a team of even though those 2 cities are a good 5 hours apart, both of them are said to be in the... Okay, so let's talk about this. I've said before, I hate my life. He joined the team for fight the power. And now he really looked reality. The main cover is Jason and Lauren fighting outside Corinth. He was fearless, says Lauren. How do I know that? Oh shit. So they have to warn the dimensions to be ready. They finish syncing the Black Dragon suit with the coinless Trini and regular Billy. What kind of gas do you want? Eh, just give me that regular. T-Rex used T-Rex. I think I used T-Rex. 4 issues for fired by Kimberly, sporting a sweet short punt. Oh god, short punt. The other Rangers catch up, and coinless Kim says fuck. Kim asks if there any way